So, I'm a hired gun in visual communication. For decades, clients hire me for my digital mosaics, my futuristic illustrations, my digital complexity, probably for my taste, my eye. And some years ago, Gen AI hit, and now people can imitate me in seconds. Sounds frightening, right? But there is one thing, that companies and even AI giants like Google Gemini, Google DeepMind, are still acquiring my work. Why? And they're not even using their own models. Why? Probably because there is a difference between mimicking and creating, between replicating and developing. There is a difference between the algorithm and the olive tree. My name is Charis Tsevis. I'm a visual designer, and I'm living on an island, Cyprus, that is basically a museum without walls, right? Let's take a walk around Cyprus. We'll find fossils. Oops. We'll find fossils of civilization over civilization. Every civilization builds on the other one. There are the... κάτι δεν πηγαίνει καλά. So, Roman mosaics, and then Frankish castles, and then Venetian, the same castle becomes Venetian, and then Ottomans are building bridges, and then British are building cables, telegraph cables. Have you been in Kalopanaiotis, in this amazing monastery, St. John Labadistis? There are 3 churches, one Orthodox, then one Catholic, then another Orthodox, under the same roof in some kind of architectural mosaic. So, or let's go around Pafos. We will see the same thing, civilization over civilization. No civilization has completely faded. The next civilization has built on top. And I believe that this phenomena is the same in our career, in our life. At least in my life, there is the same circle of, let's say, a digital archaeology. On the bottom layer, there were rapidographs. That's me back in the 90s. Rapidographs, pencils, cutting machines, analog films. Then I was lucky enough to work with this kind of monsters. Believe me, they were costing tens of thousands of euros, many, probably 100,000 euros, to give us the possibility to have 2 layers and create one gradient. And I'm not kidding. And then the Max came, and for me, that was love at first sight, because Apple was standing for creative people like me in the crossroad between the digital technology and the liberal arts. And around 1999, 2000, 2001, I discovered Alice. I discovered it by chance, looking for creative ways to use chat for NGR that I was working back then. So I discovered Alice, and Alice was one of the bots, the chat bots, that back then could mimic quite successfully human language. And they have even passed the Turing test. Turing test was when a machine could fool a person that that person was talking to another person and not a machine. So I had a very good friend, George Melekos. He was a young hacker back then. Now he's an old man. And I inspired him to create a version of Alice that, believe me, was doing much more than Alice. It could connect to external programs, just a bit like Siri, before Siri, many years before Siri. And it was based in this very basic language, AIML, Artificial Intelligence Markup Language, which is a form of XML, which is a very basic form of language, if you want a rigid type of human language, very, very limited. But it was a very nice introduction for me to what could be the intelligence from the part of a machine. Because I knew what intelligence is from a part of a human, but what could be the metaphor of intelligence for the machine? And I remember that we have called her Electra, that bot. And my friend has won an award in some competition, and that was all. We were ahead of our time. But for me, it was the introduction to machine-computer, to human-computer synergy to probably find new ways to collaborate. And as I have that passion for mosaics, for, if you want, for digital complexity, I knew that I needed this synergy with the machine to resolve computer vision problems. And believe me, I have this passion, and it wasn't a profession. It was initially just a passion. For more than 30 years, I was messing around with machines, but I was, probably because my father was an engineer, but I wanted to be an artist, so we had our things and our issues. And these issues wanted me to be one part wanted to be a scientist, and the other part wanted to cancel the science and be an artist. But this synergy was helping to introduce me to all these things that are today. So initially, this is one work I did in the 90s. I have used, if I remember well, a program called Moza or something like that, and then many layers in Photoshop for various tones. And before that, I was messing around in dark rooms, photographic dark rooms, to do the same thing with different time exposures, etc. But there was only one problem. As I understood that I had to collect scientific announcements and scientific progresses, and also artistic approaches by other people. But the problem was that I should probably, when I was in school, I should probably pay more attention in math and physics. But the reality was that I wasn't a good student, so I couldn't understand what the heck these equations are saying. But 3 years ago, when LLMs hit, I finally could ask, can you help me to understand this thing? And I could ask in private. And as Sava said, the LLM wasn't offended and wasn't saying, are you serious? You don't understand. It was fine. It was friendly. So it was explaining, and it was explaining in depth. And if I couldn't understand still what the heck is this, I could go to a RAG system, and RAG is a way to speak with a machine giving her or him some, or it some, them some papers, some material, some data, and then ask questions. And also, if you can understand still, probably you can ask to generate a nice lesson and listen to that lesson. And here we have voice, hopefully. Hopefully, but we don't understand the thing.
Looking at a giant billboard, maybe across the street, you see this perfect, clear image, right? Mm-hmm. But
so
then
this
as you walk closer, that image,
by Google
it starts to
DeepMind,
break
so
apart.
you can,
and you realize it's made of thousands of tiny individual photos.
And you can
Each
ask
one
to
its own
present it
little
in
world,
the form of
but
podcast
together
or
they
anything
make the
else.
bigger picture.
So, in some, around 1 year ago, I have tried this. I have said, can you help me to create my own tools or to make my tools a little bit better? And at that point, a lot of friends of mine and a lot of colleagues of mine have tried to stop me and tell me, Charis, are you serious? Do you want to share your whole life's experience with some big tech companies or in Silicon Valley or in China? The answer is yes, 100%. And I will tell you why. And I believe I will explain why. Silicon Valley, for me, was always a place of dreams. And believe me, I have been many times. I worship this place. For me, probably it's not anymore so much, but it was a place of pioneers that wanted to change the world, to empower people like us, to be more creative. Obviously, I'm not naive. Silicon Valley has many faces. And Silicon Valley today is also a place of bubbles, crypto scams, broken promises, zombie unicorns. Unicorn is a company that is sold for over 1 billion. And Zombie Unicorn is a company that has costed over 1 billion to someone and has no survival, no real business plan. So there are thousands of zombie unicorns. That means that these values are dead, okay? And this is important because we're living in this type of bubble. So I'm not naive. I know that all these things are at the same time true. And do you remember this guy? This guy's going around the earth again and again and again every day. This was announced back in 2017 by Elon Musk. It would be an incredible, powerful Tesla Roadster that it could reach 200 miles per hour. It has never been produced. People who have pre-ordered that thing have never received it. It's never produced. It's just universal garbage. So the big tech, Silicon Valley, and I'm afraid also the Chinese, probably the same, is a place of also hype. And if you remember this is the metaverse, this odd guys without legs. Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook were sure that we would be crazy about that and that we would live already there and we would shop with glasses, or VR glasses, anything from the supermarket to our clothes, etc. And others were saying that all of us, creatives, we would be rich by selling NFTs, right? Okay, you know that all these things are myths and bubbles because the truth is that AI has a double face. And in my opinion, both identities are true, the scientific and the overhyped, the substance and the broken promise, the algorithm, the automation, and the olive tree. And it's also very true that 3 years ago, when generative AI hit, I couldn't even sleep at night because I was sure that it was dangerous for me. And I would like to ask you, how many of us are afraid of AI? Okay, that's good. And you know why it's good? Because fear is intelligence. Because humans are feeling fear when there is a danger. And that makes us work, that makes us move. Okay? I believe that some, because I don't know really the solutions, but some approach could be an approach that Steve Jobs was saying back in the 80s. He was saying that the biggest lesson he had in his life was that people who had created everything incredibly big and amazing around us are people just like us. And that's absolutely true. You know, when I was 18, I thought that I liked a lot David Bowie. And I thought that David Bowie wouldn't sleep at night or probably would have 3 brains, or I don't know. No, he died. He was a person like all of us. So all the people who have created all these amazing things are just like us. And it's important to remember. So this is what my tool, with the help of AI, with the assistance of AI, could be. Based on algorithms that other people have contributed during these years, ideas from other people, and ideas also that I have found in my own experience for so many years. And my mosaics, as I called it, program has, till now, I have arrived to 12 different matching algorithms. And believe me, I'm afraid that I will arrive to 30 or more because it's amazing. There are so many ideas out there. And it's not just an academic passion, it's that I really need them. As probably people who don't understand mosaics probably don't understand that, but people who know basic graphics know why we need many grid styles. So I didn't just wanted squares and bricks and hexagons and isometric rhombus, but I also wanted arabesque. I want to add, slowly, the cultural heritage of centuries of mosaic making, because I haven't obviously discovered mosaics. And obviously, custom, always. I love also custom. And this is a solution that has a very big story. If you have, it's also very trendy recently. If you have a very limited color palette or a very limited image database and you want to create a pixel or a mosaic, you need to mimic, you need to work with dithering, which is noise, okay, error diffusion noise. And obviously, I have introduced this type of algorithms, and these algorithms, the halftone algorithm, is more than 100 years old. So these things are not new at all. And all these things that I'm telling you that look impressive, also to me, are not, my reason is, the reason I'm doing this is not to show off to me or to you or to anyone, it's because I really need these things. I really need for different approaches, for different expressions, communication expressions of mine. I need these different approaches. You should see a more, for example, gradient on the right side, a more artistic, more staccato. This is more legato. There is more harmony. Here, there is more rhythm. So even if the same palette was used. And for those who tell me to stop sharing my work, I'm giving this example. This is my algorithm that is my first experiment with neural networks. So if you see these imports that are on the top, these are nothing else than libraries that other people have written years before me. So, and LLMs know all of these things. So there is no reason to hide anything because everything is already known. And if I ask you, what is an iPhone? Is the iPhone the result, the product of a company, a magical invention of Steve Jobs or a company? Or is it a carefully combined collection of papers? For me, it's the second. Because any part of the iPhone is a part of knowledge. It's like a mosaic. It's like the olive tree and the olive oil. You are collecting the right ingredients, the right recipe, but you are collecting knowledge. So here, for instance, I have enabled a lot of importance and priority systems, and I also wanted a system for to be able to exclude some parts of the image, so to have economy in my matching program. And for the first time in my life, I have created an evaluation system, a quality report at the end. So I can know exactly which areas of my mosaics are more successful and which are less successful with tangible data, not just my taste. Like here, for instance, this heat map it has the numbers of matching success. So the green is better, the red is worse. So you can see that it's quite good, right? And so the ultimate tool, possibly, it's a collection of ideas of centuries ago, of this century, of many people, of my experience. Would somebody copy it? Maybe. I'm not sure if I will give it to you now, if somebody will understand what this is. Because, you know what? This is the fruit of my last 8 months. But before this, I was using other programs and other hacks and other scripts that are available to anyone. But not everyone is making the same olive oil. Not everyone having Photoshop creates the same digital art. So, and I'm not here to preach and to say that I know the truth and you have to follow my guidance. But I want to just share my 6-point strategy that I have found and I'm trying to apply in order to survive professionally. So first thing is no fear. Or if you like, use the fear. Use the fear creatively. Don't make the fear stop you. Too many people, too many colleagues are fighting the science, are fighting AI as AI. They're saying, you know what? They are trained, these models are trained with our work. I know, this is a nice site. Have I been trained? That you go, you put your name, and you see what part of your work has been used to train these models. And there are hundreds of my works there. So I can be mad with them. Certainly, I believe this is morally wrong. This is politically wrong. There are malpractices that are even worse than having my work. Building data centers and drying the air and the rivers, it's really important. It's important for all of us. Or using poor countries and using poor people to test the worst artifacts of these models is a crime in the civilized society. But all these problems are political. These are not scientific problems. And we should face these problems politically, not scientifically. Because if we fear or if we don't like some things that these companies are doing and we are fighting science, it's the wrong target. Second is no myths. There is a lot of mythology around AI. And in my opinion, and in my experience working with AI, is that this is total nonsense. AI is not capable. And this buzzword, artificial general intelligence, if you ask the scientists that are outside the big tech, that are still in academia, most of them are saying that this is nonsense. This is just a buzzword. And I don't like to predict, and I don't have a crystal ball, but in my opinion, all these things are probably a nice a development after this guy. This guy is John McCarthy, and he's the godfather of the term artificial intelligence. He invented that term as a marketing campaign when, in the summer of '55, in Dartmouth University, he needed funds for a program. So he wanted a nice term to use, and he invented the artificial intelligence term. And he found the funds. Third, real knowledge. Go to the real sources. And the real sources are not the mass media. The real sources are Arxiv, are the academia, are every day. There are so many announcements. You don't have time even to keep track of all of them. But if you want to be informed, go there. Fourth, human time. And this is very important. In a world that moves in machine speed, understand that you're not a machine. You need time to understand and to create. Use the wisdom of, this is Xenon from Citium, Xenon, Aptokiti. Xenon, in the 4th century before Jesus Christ, the founder of Stoicism, was saying, well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing. In Cyprus, we're saying siga siga, layer by layer, slowly, slowly. And it's not a form of laziness. It's the human time. Fifth, creation, not consumption. If you are just copying or superficially remixing or automating, this is not real creation. And in my opinion, this has short legs. And six, most of all, purpose. Ask why. Ask always why. Why I'm doing this? Why I will create what I will create? Because I can, because some bot told me so. So let's return to that olive tree. This olive tree doesn't care if your post went viral. It doesn't care, doesn't update its OS. It doesn't panic when GPT 5 or 6 or 7 drops. It just grows, siga siga, layer by layer, like Cyprus archaeology, like technology evolution, like a mosaic, like us. So we need both the algorithm and the olive tree, the speed and the roots, the command and the shift, the question and the shortcut. And I have an assignment for you for tonight, and it will take you just 1 minute. Before you sleep, choose one thing, just one, that you've been asking AI to do, just one, and ask yourself, why do I want this? What is my unique perspective? And how could I build this better?
Just one, just one.
Only one?
Oh, yes.
Just one?
Yes.
Only you?
So write it down, not in AI, in paper, with your hands. And this is your first step towards the algorithm and the olive tree. Don't ask what AI can do. Ask what you want to build, with AI or without AI. Doesn't matter. Ask why it matters, most of all, and how you can add your layer to this digital archaeology. Because the most radical thing that you can do in this age of instant everything is to plan something slow. something that it endures, something that builds. Σιγά σιγά, like the olive tree, like Cyprus, like every technological layer that brought us here. The algorithm will evolve, the olive tree endures. Your layer is your choice. Hopefully. Thank you. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.